welcome to Learning on the Go with Arapahoe Libraries. It is January 2025, and I'm so happy you're here with me again for songs and rhymes and fun. My name is Mary, and we're going to start with another hello rhyme. Bread and butter, jelly and jam. Let's say hello as fast as we can. Hello. Bread and butter, jelly and jam. Let's say hello as slow as we can. Hello. Bread and butter, jelly and jam. Let's say hello as quietly as we can. Bread and butter, jelly and jam. Let's say hello as loud as we can. Hello! Wonderful. Let's try a few wiggles. Can you wiggle your fingers? My fingers are starting to wiggle, my fingers are starting to wiggle, my fingers are starting to wiggle, and now so are my hands. My hands are starting to wiggle, my hands are starting to wiggle, my hands are starting to wiggle, and now so are my arms. My arms are starting to wiggle, my arms are starting to wiggle, my arms are starting to wiggle, and now so is my head. My head is starting to wiggle, my head is starting to wiggle, my head is starting to wiggle, and now so is my body. My body is starting to wiggle, my body is starting to wiggle, my body is starting to wiggle, around and around and around. Great wiggling. I wonder if you would help me with another rhyme now. 3, oh, I lost my light. 3, 2, 1. You'll probably notice that we have some delicious food up on the flannel board. We have a lovely green salad, and we have a cake with strawberries and chocolate. And to put on the salad, we have some pepper for seasoning. Oh, pepper can be tasty, but it can also, if you accidentally get it in your nose, it will make you go, achoo. You know who likes to visit a picnic with foods like this? Ants. Sometimes ants come to our picnics uninvited. And in fact, there are 5 ants coming to this picnic. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 hungry ants come to the picnic marching in a line, and they came upon a picnic where they could dine. What does the word dine mean? It means to eat, right? It's a fancy word for eating. So they came upon a picnic where they could dine, where they could eat. So what are they going to march into first? The salad, and then the cake. But then they find the pepper. Let's see what happens. Show me 5 fingers, please. 5 hungry ants marching in a line came upon a picnic where they could dine. They marched into the salad. They marched into the cake. They marched into the pepper. Uh-oh, that was a mistake. Achoo! Where did he go? Wow, that was a big sneeze. How many ants are left? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 hungry ants marching in a line came upon a picnic where they could dine. They marched into the salad. They marched into the cake. They marched into the pepper. And what happened? Uh-oh, that was a mistake. Okay, how many ants are left at the picnic? 1, 2, 3. 3 hungry ants marching in a line came upon a picnic where they could dine. They marched into the salad. They marched into the cake. They marched into the pepper. Uh-oh, that was a mistake. Achoo! How many are left now? 1, 2. 2 hungry ants marching in a line came upon a picnic where they could dine. They marched into the salad. They marched into the cake. They marched into the pepper. Uh-oh, that was a mistake. Achoo! How many ants are left? 1 ant left with all of this food. 1 hungry ant marching in a line came upon a picnic where he could dine. He marched into the salad. He marched into the cake. He marched into the pepper. Uh-oh, that was a mistake. Achoo! Oh no, how many ants are left now? 0. No more ants, but lots of food. This looks delicious. I would like to eat that cake, I think. Maybe I'll have some salad first. Grown-ups, this month we are working on our narrative skills, which means learning how stories work, how to retell them, how to sequence things, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and tell things in order. It helps sometimes with following directions too. So you might notice in this rhyme, it was easy to predict what was going to come next. And then what was happening last was the ant sneezed and fell off the board. So that's what we're going to be doing with some of our rhymes and songs today, and with the book that you will get in your package. I wonder if you can help me tell a story. This is a story about a spider. The spider's name is Itsy Bitsy. Have you ever heard of Itsy Bitsy Spider? Maybe you have. And in the story, Itsy Bitsy sees a water spout like this. And so what does Itsy Bitsy decide to do? Itsy Bitsy decides to climb up the water spout. First, Itsy Bitsy climbs up the water spout. And then what happens next? The rain comes down and it washes Itsy Bitsy the spider out. There they go. Whoosh. And then next, the rain goes away and the sun comes out. And what does Itsy Bitsy do finally at the end? Climb up the water spout again. Do you think you can help me with a song? I bet you know this song about Itsy Bitsy. Okay, here's Itsy Bitsy and here's the water spout. The Itsy Bitsy spider went up the water spout, and then down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the Itsy Bitsy spider went up the spout again. Grown-ups, lots of songs are stories like this that have a beginning and a middle and an end. So sometimes when you're singing, you can say, what happened first? Itsy Bitsy climbed up the water spout. What happened next? The rain happened. And then next, Itsy Bitsy got washed out of the water spout. And finally, the sun came out and Itsy tried again. All right, my friends, can you sing that with me one more time? Let's get ready. Here we go. The Itsy Bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the Itsy Bitsy spider went up the spout again. Great job, friends. Thank you for singing with me. Friends, I wonder if you could help me tell a story about two friends, Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle. You want to help, Pip? Okay, you can help. My kitty's down here. All right, she's ready to help tell the story of Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle. One day, Mr. Wiggle was inside his home. So let's open the door and put him inside and shut the door. Okay? Mr. Wiggle decided that he wanted to visit his friend, Mr. Waggle. So he opened his door and he stepped outside and he shut the door. Boom. And then to visit Mr. Waggle, he had to go down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill until he got to Mr. Waggle's house. And he knocked on the door, but nobody answered. Oh, Mr. Waggle was downstairs in his basement counting potatoes, so he didn't hear Mr. Wiggle. So he said, oh, I guess he's not at home, so I better go back to my home. So Mr. Wiggle went down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill until he was at home. He opened the door and went inside and shut the door. Boom. Okay? But he was so tired from his long walk up the hill and down the hill that he decided to take a nap. Just then, Mr. Waggle was finished counting his potatoes, and he thought, I would like to go visit my friend Mr. Wiggle. So he opened his door, stepped outside, and closed his door. And then he went down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill until he got to Mr. Waggle's house, or Mr. Wiggle's house, and he knocked on the door. But remember, Mr. Wiggle was doing what? Taking a nap. That's right, so he didn't hear Mr. Waggle. So Mr. Waggle thought that Mr. Wiggle was not at home, so he decided to go back home. And he went down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill, back to his own house. And he opened the door, and he went inside, and he shut the door. Just at that time, Mr. Wiggle woke up from his nap, and he thought, I still would like to visit Mr. Waggle, so I'm going to try and see if he's at home now. So he opened his door and went outside and then shut his door. Boom. About the same time, Mr. Waggle thought, well, maybe he's home now. I want to try again. So Mr. Waggle opened his door, went outside and closed the door. Boom. And they both went down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill until they met in the middle. Hello, Mr. Wiggle. I went to visit you earlier, but you were not at home. Oh, that must have been when I was downstairs in the basement counting potatoes. I went to visit you, but you were not at home, Mr. Wiggle. Oh, that must have been when I was taking a nap, Mr. Waggle. I'm sorry, it's nice to see you now. So, would you like to come to my house? And Mr. Waggle said, of course I would. So they both went down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill until they were at Mr. Wiggle's house. And they went inside. And they had a lovely time together, going inside, and they had a lovely time in Mr. Wiggle's house, and they ate some cake and drank some tea, and then it was time for Mr. Waggle to go home. So they opened the door, and they both came outside, and Mr. Waggle walked home while Mr. Wiggle watched him down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill and down the hill and up the hill until he was back at home. And he opened his door, and he went inside and he shut the door. Boom. And after Mr. Wiggle saw Mr. Waggle safely home, he went inside, shut his door too. Boom. And that is the story of Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle. Thank you for helping me. Before we sing our last song, I would like to tell the grown-ups. As you know, this month in Learning on the Go, we are building our narrative skills. That means by hearing stories and telling stories, they're learning how stories work, that they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They're learning about sequencing, how to retell events in order, and will be better able to comprehend what they're reading and follow directions. Some books that I think are great for learning how stories work include wordless books. So I'm going to suggest some of those that I really like that you can make up and tell your own stories based on the pictures. I especially love the books by Aaron Becker, like Journey and The Last Zoo, and I can't remember what the last one is called, but the illustrations are very detailed, making for a rich storytelling experience. If you and your child like spending time with more complicated illustrations, these are the books for you, and you can tell each other the story of what you see. In So Much Snow by Hyunmin Park, two people emerge from a snowbound house and dig their way out. Talk about what you think is happening on each page. There isn't much information, but I think you will be surprised. The end of the story surprised me. I actually went, oh, when I figured it out. And speaking of snow, in the book One Giant Leap by Tao Lam, which starts as an outer space adventure, it becomes a snowy walk to school. And this is a celebration of using your imagination. So all of these titles are on the book list that is linked on the handout that you will receive in your mailing packet. So in your mail packet, the book you will receive this month is called Max the Brave, and it's written and illustrated by Ed Veer. The story follows a simple sequence. Max decides to look for a mouse, so he asks one animal after another if they are the animal he's looking for, a mouse, until he finds a mouse. Or does he? What animal does Max meet first, next, and what happens last? Along with your book, you will be receiving a treasure box. This is a plain white box, so you can decorate it any way you want with markers or tape or pictures or glue, however you'd like to do it. And inside, I hope you will add your own special treasures to it, whatever you think is special. From time to time, you and your child can take those treasures out, talk about them, and tell the story of the treasure. Where did it come from? Who gave it to you? What does it do? And why is it a treasure for you? You can practice giving your story a beginning, once upon a time, or a middle, and then this happened, and an end, and finally. Although just talking about your treasures in your box is a great way to build language skills too. So I hope you enjoy that. Friends, I wonder if you remember that last month we tried a brand new closing song, goodbye song. If you remember it, you can help me sing, and if not, you will learn it really fast, and it goes like this. Oh, my friends, my very special friends, I'm glad you're here today. Oh, my friends, my very special friends, I'm glad you came to play. We've had fun with books and songs and rhymes, but now it's time for us to say goodbye. Oh, my friends, my very special friends, I'm glad you're here today. I sure am glad that you joined me for our first Learning on the Go for the year of 2025. I'll see you next month. Bye.